and welcome to Edukemy's YouTube channel. My name is Harsh Singh, and in this video we shall discuss the featured news for 26th August 2021, which is on solid waste management. In context to an accident which was averted at Bhalswa landfill site in Delhi. And let me show you the figure. This is the Bhalswa landfill site in Delhi. It is a huge lump of solid waste, and there have been human habitation just around it. And the whole landfill site, it collapsed on the human habitation. Although there was no injury suffered, but these type of accidents have happened in the past. Also, cities like Delhi and cities like Mumbai have caused so much of solid waste which are not even equivalent to the 8 next cities in the list and generating solid waste. So this is the amount of solid waste generated in a city like Delhi and Mumbai. In this context, we will understand what is the present mechanism of solid waste disposal and management in the country, and what is the ideal way of doing the same. We will also understand what are the hindrances and impediments, and what are the innovative solutions which can spur this ideal way of solid waste management in the urban setup. In a consumption-based urban setup, it is important to reduce the usage of articles. In case we cannot reduce it, we must try to reuse it. And this is why government initiated various policies. For example, the vehicle scrappage policy, right? So this is the first level at which solid waste management should happen. Reduction of usage or reusing of the same article. In case that is not happening, we have to get into recycling of the articles. This is where one good example of paper recycling comes in. This is where the example of plastic recycling also comes in, right? In case we are not able to recycle, we have to compose that article. What are the articles which can be composed? For example, vegetable matter, any biodegradable matter can be used for composting. And if composting is not the process, then we can utilize that for waste to energy generation, right? So this is the ideal process in which it should flow. And in case nothing can happen and whatever is left out, it should be put in the landfill areas. So this is the ideal mechanism in which the solid waste management should happen. Now, this is not what is happening in a country like India in urban setup. What is actually happening is dumping of all the garbage waste at a place, such that it also forms a pile which is 100 meters above the ground, right? And what does it result into? It results into a lot of methane gas generation. So it also aids global warming, right? It also results into violence in the urban areas because all these areas develop into slums. What about the percolation? If the percolation of the toxic water happens, then the groundwater also gets deteriorated in quality. And diseases, it causes a lot of vector-borne diseases, right? So innumerable ill effects of having ill-managed solid waste disposal, right? Even if we want to dispose solid waste in a proper way, there are a lot of challenges in the process. For example, we do not have lack of credible data as to which place generates how much amount of solid waste, so that municipal corporation goes and collects that amount of the waste from that particular place. Not only that, even if this data is available, there is inefficient collection. Inefficient collection right at the place where the collection is happening. Segregation is the first component of collection of the solid waste. So segregation of biotic waste, segregation of abiotic waste, segregation of waste which can be recycled, segregation of waste that can be put into landfills. So this segregation itself is inefficient. After that, people get into dumping of waste, which is something that is followed, and we have just learned what are the issues that are in dumping, right? For example, vector-borne diseases, water percolation, and then we have the air pollution. Also, expenses attached. Government as of date is not able to expend that amount which is required to establish these solid waste management centers, right? So what are the innovations? What are the various innovations we are looking at for future? Because in urban setup in future, we need to have solid waste management systems. So one good way out is composting. Composting is the process of natural decomposition, right? Natural decomposition in aerobic conditions. So this is one. The second one is biomethanation. Now this is a process of degradation of the substance microbiologically. So using organisms, biotic organisms in anaerobic conditions. That means without the aid of oxygen. This is the second process. The third one is refuse-derived fuel system. Now what is this? Refuse-derived fuel system. Now all the articles which have been refused, those articles can sometimes be used to generate generate energy, and these are the refuse-derived fuel, right? So the fuel is packed into these baggages, and later it will be incinerated or burnt, and later used to generate electricity, right? Energy. So this is waste to energy conversion, right? And the most important thing is decentralized management. A very simple example of this is places where there are banquet halls. Now those banquet halls have lot of biotic waste in terms of the food, abiotic waste, because a lot of single-use substances are used, right? Single-use plastic is used at those places, and single-use kind of entities for decorations are used. Now those are the sites where lot of solid waste is generated every day, and probably 365 days a year, and therefore tracking of this kind of entity is very important, and decentralized treatment of the same is important. So this is a very important strategy that the government can implement, that municipal corporations can implement. And of course funding is required, and then participation. Whose participation? Your and my participation is required, because government alone cannot achieve this. We have to segregate the solid waste at the generation point. That means at our home we have to separate what is the waste that can be treated, what is the waste that cannot be treated. This brings me back to the article from our Gazette magazine. It says that solid waste management is collection and treatment of solid waste. Very simple, but it is simple if you recollect these two important words in the exam: collecting and treating of the solid waste. Also, recycling of the waste is an important process in it. We also covered all these 5 components of how solid waste should be handled, right? Also, we understood what are the reasons for solid waste management, right? Because if we do not manage it, it will convert into waste in the landfills and then lead to repercussions in the area around it, right? The situation of solid waste management is such in India that there is an increasing amount of waste being generated, however less amount of waste being processed and treated. So government initiated few rules in the terms of solid waste management, plastic waste management, and municipal solid waste management. It also initiated Swachh Bharat Mission Urban for the same. So these are the schemes you can mention in the examination, right? So what is the key challenge? First of all, lack of data. I mentioned inefficient collection of data, and solid waste dumping, and expensive for the government, right? Also, what is required as of date is to ensure that we reinvent this whole scheme of solid waste management. How? By participation of people, by ensuring that decentralized management of solid waste is done, by adequately funding it, by generating innovative ways in which the solid waste can be managed. This is a problem for our country as of now. However, if we have a circular economy, if we have an economy like the advanced countries, if we have those technologies, this is no more a problem to us as well. Now, after having understood the article in detail, all I got to do is ask you to pause this video for 30 seconds, take a while to think back and think about all the perspectives towards solid waste management in an urban setup. And after that, you can attempt this question. Discuss the solid waste management in India and challenges associated with it. What are the steps needed to improve solid waste management in India? If you liked our effort, if you like this video, share some love on us through likes, comments, and shares. If you subscribe to this video, you will receive timely updates. Thanks for watching.